How's it, guys? Thanks for joining us again on this bright and cheerful and frosty Sunday, I almost said Sunday morning.
Friday.
Welkom, of Randa is net nou. I'm joined here with Marlon again today. We've changed it up a little bit. I've swung the desk around so I can see him, his beautiful face while I'm playing.
My hair.
Make sure his hair stays in tame. So what we're going to do this morning, got a couple of different angles. So you can see this. We've set it up today that you can see my channel section here, which is going to stay in a little picture-in-picture in the top corner. And as I'm touching faders, you should be able to see it change in front of your eyes. And at the top left side of that screen is the channel that I'm on. So what I've got set up here now is it's basically blank. We've only done gain structures. We've done no EQs, no compressions, no nothing, no effects. I've got a couple of snapshots changed that I'll change to. So I'm going to get Marlon to play. Marlon's going to say good morning to us first.
What's up, guys? Sound GP here to make some noise again for all of you that are still working from home. Most of you go back next week, so we're going to give you some great tunes today and have some fun with us. All right. It's my birthday, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Happy birthday, Marlon. I was saving that for a special occasion, but I jumped the gun on that one. So it's Marley's birthday today. What, 27?
I wish.
Well, happy birthday. He said he's got 3 venues that's booked him for tonight. His lounge, his bedroom, and his kitchen. So he's going to have a jaw there. So I'm going to, like normal, I'm going to kill the microphones that we're talking on so we don't have an excessive noise. And to get Marlon to play for us a little bit. I'm going to do now in the first round, I'm going to get him to play a song through, check gain structures. I'm going to go through the channels so you guys can see a change. We'll check gain structures, make sure that's all cool. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about the layout on the console and what I've done here. And then I'm going to go to a sort of a mixed state. I've saved some time. I've saved it on a snapshot. And we'll get him to play a similar song again, and we'll hear the difference in the kit. What we've got today, I've got my WhatsApp up next to me, so Johan can send me some questions. If you guys have got questions, please pop them through. We'll see if we can answer them. And for me or Marlon, or just happy birthdays will be cool as well. And we'll take it from there. So I'm going to close our microphones, and Marlon, you can hit it. I'm going to cut him short there. So those of you who are listening intently, like we hope you are, if you're listening, cool. You would have heard it's a big noise. There's a drum kit. There's a lot of ring on the toms. The kick is all over the place. Snare doesn't sound too bad. So I tag through the channels so you can see what I'm working on. What I'm going to do now is go to a different snapshot. So now if I go through the channels, you'll immediately see there's some processing happening. We've got some gates going on the toms, some EQs, overheads, filters, a lot of filters in now for the things that don't need low-end noise. Kick drum, I've got a kick in like last week, Beta 91. This week we've got a Beta 52 inside the kick drum, lined up with a 91. So it's not outside, it's right in So we got 91 and a 52 right on top of each other. We've got the sub kick still. We've got an I5 on the top snare, a 81 on the top snare, 57 and a 350 on the bottom snare, a 421 on the side snare, which is really nice. We've changed from the C1000. We've actually got a CK93 on the hi-hat. Tom mics are still the ATM 230s. Overheads are still the TL 103s. And then we've got tracks, obviously, and I'm talking on a Sennheiser MK Gold. So is Marlon. We're both listening on in-ears with PSM 900 packs. And our transmitters are ULXD transmitters for the microphones. So that's and then obviously this is the Avid S6L, FYI. So I've jippered it a bit so I can get these screens displayed to you guys. So I've loaded some not so legal software probably for the system, but it's working. That's how you can see that universal screen, which if you're looking on the side camera, you can see that this screen here, which is generally shows me my universe. And you can, this should be, if your Hans doing his job properly, this should be on your top picture-in-picture. You can see I can switch between all my inputs and outputs, have a nice overview. Then I've got meter view, which just shows me what a normal channel strip will look like. And then a channel view, so as I'm selecting channels, it's changing so you can see what I've done on those channels. Obviously, it's not showing you faders that you'll see on the side camera. I've set up some VCAs. I've spoken about this in my couple of my talks about workflows. I've got Groove, I've got Toms, overheads, and a whole kit. So you can see here on the side there's members. And then I've obviously got effects on a separate VCA as well. So I'll start with effects down. So now I've recalled that scene, so we're going to ask Marlon to play the same tune. This time you can play it all the way through because it'll sound a lot better. And then we'll discuss some more. Cool. So that would have sounded a bit weird towards the end there. I actually pulled the track out. On that loop that he's playing along with, there's a bit of low end, some snare sounds and stuff, which I pulled out just so you can hear the kick and snare and stuff by itself. Had a bit of reverb going. I've got a plate reverb on the snare, and also on the whole kit. The kit one you can see I've EQ'd so that it's just a little bit more sizzle. Doesn't respond to the low end. And then not too much. There's a bit of annoyance for me on tom 3 and 4. Now, we haven't tuned the toms today, correct?
I did a bit before we came in, but because it's cold.
Did you smiley face?
No.
Yeah, so obviously when we started this morning and it's gotten a bit warmer.
Yeah.
So that fourth tom has got some annoying, and you can see what I've done here. Do it again. Okay, I need to pull the mics down when he's playing because it sounds like a taxi. So the fifth tom has got a bit of a wobble in it. The fourth tom has got a bit of a hang tone that I'm trying to EQ out there. That's why you can see I did that. But it's not the right way to do it. We need to go in there and just fix a little bit of that. I'm going to do this, pull his microphone down while he's doing that. So if he does do a tom roll, it's not so bad. So the idea is obviously, and last week when we did this, I had no EQs on the toms at all. We spent a bit of time tuning them, and they were all new skins. So obviously over the week now they've stretched in a bit. One thing with skins, if you treat them right when you change them, you seat them properly, they will seat down nice and evenly. If you don't stretch them out properly and seat them properly, it's quite a challenge to keep them in tune. But obviously, like we said many times now, source is the most important thing. But on that run, you could hear there was a lot more definition on the kit. I just put some gates on I've got no dynamics in terms of compression on the toms. But what I did do on the toms is I put them in a group. So if I go to my group layout, which you should see on the screen now. So there, what I've done is I've put my groove section. When I say groove section, what I do is I put my kicks, my snare, my hi-hat. And if there's a bassist, I'll put him in the same one if I'm working with a band. And that's sort of my little genre groove. That VCA will help, just get the mood going. And then if I've got enough VCAs, I'll split it up a lot. But if I don't have enough VCAs, depending on what console I'm on, I'll do a groove and a kit. And then the kit would be, and I'd actually label it percussion. So I'll have groove, which is kick, snare, hats, and percussion, which is toms and overheads, and SPD and whatever else is in there. And then move on from there. But if I've got, in this case now, I've done groove, toms, and overheads separately, just so I can play with them. And then I've put the toms in a group, and I've actually put a compressor on that. So if you look at my screen, you'll see there's a Pro Limiter plug-in on there. The Pro Limiter, I can't show you that now. That's on this screen over here. And all I've done is with the toms, I've just squashed them a little bit so they pump a bit more, a bit of sidechain compression there. And so on the first group and the second group, third group, I've done nothing. I'm just routing through it. So if I wanted to do something on my groove section, I could, but I've not done anything. It's just going straight through. But that would be very much a typical layout of how I would approach a kit. I would say, and the reason I break down the different elements of the kit as well is often we get faced with a lot of different scenarios in terms of genre, from one song to the next song to the next song. So, and also, depending on how you treat the kit and what song, there's different elements in the kit that has to be more prominent. You've got something with a bit of side snare you were playing earlier, what I don't know, can't remember what that was. Can you? That one, yeah. Yeah. If you can play me that loop, that'll be cool.
The song is by Mr. Jonathan Butler. It's called Wake Up. And one of the greatest inspirations, not only to me, but to hundreds of thousands of us here in SA.
So I'm probably going to run the track a little bit low so we don't get flagged for copyright.
Yeah.
But our focus is the kit. So I'll get the intro and then I'll pull it out.
All right.
I want to just get some cross-stick sounds and show you. You'll be surprised at most of the cross-stick effects is off the overheads. So what I did there is, if you remember from a couple of weeks ago, I mentioned that on my snares, I tend to go to my bottom snares for effect send. So on screen, it's a bit small maybe there, but you can see there's a send on aux 2 there. On my bottom snares, sorry, on 15 there. So when he plays cross stick like he's playing now, I'm not going to get any reverb coming off the top microphone. Now, obviously, he's also not playing it, and because I'm very aggressive with my gate and my EQ on my bottom snares to get that snap that we were talking about. My top snare is pretty flat. I've got no EQ on it, as you can see. It's just a filter. My bottom snare is filtered quite a bit with a gate on it, so that I can, my gate's very quick, releases very quick. So I just get that splash through, and that's what I send to the reverb. So it sounds great when he gives us a full snare hit, but when he plays cross stick, it's not there. So I've got on my 2 Neumann's overhead, I'm sending a reverb send quite aggressively. It's a very similar send to what's on the snare itself, but it's got a little bit of a longer decay on it. But now when he plays cross stick, because I've got such a full sound of my overheads, that reverb that you're hearing on the cross stick is actually off what we would call our kit reverb, which again goes very nicely with the whole feel of it. So we don't have a sporadic reverb or out of context reverb as well, because when you play cross stick like that, it can come through quite nicely if you've got your microphones placed well as well. Because when the drummer's playing, if I'm missing cross stick, I can go in EQs, I can go and find 1.5, 2K somewhere and try and find that tone to come through, or I can just physically watch him, see how his hand's positioned, where he's playing, and adjust my microphone. So in this case, we've got the 81 and the i5, pretty well placed, and they're getting a very nice cross stick sound, and then the reverb for it is coming off the overheads. I'm actually going to pull down, I'm going to ask you to play the same thing again. I'm going to pull down everything except the overheads and let you hear that. I switched there with my VCAs. I went from overhead to the groove, and you could hear the change. And then I brought in the kit reverb, pulled that out again, and then the normal snare reverb, which had a slight impact because obviously the mic is there, but it's not as prominent as what the overheads are. Also, this is also why it's very important when you're positioning your overheads. You want to have a nice lined up phase sound, so you can see on one of the cameras the mics don't look, identical. The one slightly higher, and moved so we can line up the distance to the snare. Different schools of thought on that, but if you are doing overheads like this, your snare is down the middle. And if your overheads are not physically measured, I tend to just grab a mic lead, which is the quickest normally, and just go snare center, one mic, other mic, and make sure that they're evenly spaced, which doesn't always look the best from a camera perspective because they look like they skew. but it has a massive impact on how your kit is perceived, because I've got a nice snare sound, and if I want to make use of a nice full overhead sound like I am now, and I bring that in, I can have some phasing, and I have a little bit of flutter that happens between the actual snare mic and the overhead mics, because they don't complement image-wise as well as messing with the reverb. Serious questions only, Anton. I mean, Warren. Asking Anton play the drums.
Cristo's going to do a drum solo just now.
Yeah. It's all of 1/16. I was watching a video yesterday of a guy playing, what was it? 5/7 on the hands and a 9/16 on the feet.
Yeah, that's not from Earth.
What's doing it?
That's a different level of independence.
Yeah, and it was like, and then he said, "Let me do it slow so it makes more sense." And I was like, "What?" Yeah, the drummers are a different breed.
Occasionally, we like to help the humans.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
You entertain us.
Yeah.
So, I mean, other than that, from a workflow perspective, I think I'm going to get him to play a little bit more. We're not going to stay on air for too long today. I'm going to play out with the next song. We've not. I don't know who's watching. I'll be watching this. If you're watching this tonight, I'll answer your questions on the chat, because we'll rebroadcast it later. But we're just having fun. Next week, we are planning to add a little bit of more humans in our space here. We'll maintain our social distancing. I have my mask ready. Just so we can get more of a groove going, and then also with more people, we can start talking a little bit more about monitoring, what people want to hear, click, all that kind of stuff. And what I'll do is what I'm going to set up, which I can do on this console, the feed that you guys hear on air, I can change what you hear, so that you can hear what Marlon's hearing, what the bassist is going to hear, what the piano player is going to hear. What you guys are listening to, what I'm listening to at the moment, except for when I press solo, so I can isolate something, but I'm listening to the main feed. So next week what I'll do is I'll set it up so that you can hear what the different guys are hearing in their ears, and you'd actually be surprised of what Marlon's listening to. Remember, he's sitting at the kit, so he's got track going, and he's got very little anything else, a little bit of feel of kit, but I mean the kit's coming at him from where he's sitting, so he's quite happy with that. But that'll be different for different musicians as they're placed, and then you get. And it's not a rule again, it's just perspective. Some drummers, they want to hear every tom as if it's glued to their head. And then the click is not actually an audio click, it's like a nail on top of your head. And someone's doing this on the nail.
Have you ever had any problems picking that up if a click is too loud?
I have spoken to a couple of drummers about, can we please drop the click in your ears, because I'm picking out overheads. Or singing.
Right.
The most common one is singing. There's 2 drummers currently on circuit that sings. I'm not going to name names. You know who you are, and it's not if you know the words. But I mean, they just it's quite interesting when you listen to the overheads. And, you get this like sporadic singing going, which is at least they're in key.
He's always got drummer jokes. The only drummer jokes. I've
got musician jokes as well, but today's drum. Sorry, that was a low one. It's his birthday, so we said we're not going to make any short jokes. We're going to make long, thought-out jokes.
That's cold. That is
anything you want to add for today?
Just the music, man. Let's play the music. That's me.
Oh, hang on, wait. There's a question. I just got flagged. This is, I'm sitting on in-ears, so it's sounding a bit different to what I'm normally. The questions here from Pepe de Vault, the settings for studio, or do you apply this to stage? This is how I would run my front of house setup. If I'm running front of house, and even my broadcast stuff. But the difference between my front of house setup and my broadcast setup is on my broadcast setup, I would do more management of sections. Because obviously with broadcast, loudness is important. Even this now, what I'm sending out to you, we're running with loudness. I'm trying to maintain so we can get a proper signal out, volume-wise. But if you just go and pump like anybody's working in studio, if you just put a dynamic unit at the end. It's going to respond to your snares, going to respond to everything and go crazy. So I've only got a 2-step one going here now, but when I'm doing broadcasts for voice and stuff like that, I've got all my sections are managed within themselves, so I know what I'm then sending to my master bus. And then my master bus settings, depending on where I'm sending that signal, will also be maintained, and obviously monitoring the loudness. And then I'll never be doing more than 2 or 3 dB reduction on my master bus, so I can keep it nice and warm, so that there's anything that's aggressive. If there's suddenly a mic that falls, like on the drum kit, or the guitarist kicks his mic and it goes suddenly closer, I'm not going to have my main compressor reacting to that. I'm going to have my sectional one reacting to that. But then again, you've got to make sure that you manage it properly. When I do live stuff, when I'm only doing front of house, I'll do as little dynamic on my mastering chain as possible. I'll do management of PA on the PA setting on matrices. Left and right will be clean, nothing on it. And the management on PA is purely for safety. And I'll try and keep it, because obviously your PA is full of dynamic. You can handle the dynamic range. So I can get as creative as what I want to get without doing too much management. But the VCA layouts and stuff I spoke about now is pretty much how I would normally approach that kind of stuff. Elaine says, happy birthday, Marlon.
Thank you so much, Elaine. Much appreciated.
And Carl says, happy birthday, Marlon.
To all of you, much love. Much love.
Yeah, but thanks for those questions. And workflow is something that obviously I need to be comfortable in where I find what I find. So my physical layout, what I put in subgroups, what I put in VCAs will always be similar, so that I can get there quickly. I won't do something unique, but the way I then treat those paths, depending on whether I'm doing front of house or broadcast or studio, will be completely different. So it's all outcome based.